Right, the readings are on the screen, so you can see them with me. Our first reading is just the verse from Proverbs 14, verse 30. A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Now the gospel reading comes from James, chapter 3, verses 14 to 16. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast about it or deny the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, demonic. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you'll find disorder and every evil practice. And I think we have a third one now, which is the gospel reading from chapter 20, verses 1 to 15. It's the parable of the workers in the vineyard. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed to pay them a denarius for each day and send them into his vineyard. About 9 a.m, he went out and saw others standing in the marketplace doing nothing. He told them, "You also go and work in my vineyard, and I will pay you whatever is right." So they went. He went out again about noon, and about 3 p.m, and did the same thing. About 5 p.m, he went out and found still others standing around. He asked them, "Why have you been standing here all day long, doing nothing?" "Because no one has hired us," they answered. He said to them, "You also go and work in my vineyard." When evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Call the workers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last ones hired and going to the first." The workers who were hired about 5 p.m. came, and each received a denarius. So when those who came who were hired first, they expected to receive more, but each one of them also received a denarius. When they received it, they began to grumble against the owner. "These who were hired last worked only 1 hour," they said, "and you've made them equal to us who have borne the burden of work in the heat of the day." But he answered one of them, "I am not being unfair to you, friend. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the one who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money? Or are you envious because I am generous?"
Thank you, Mabel. Now, because of the live stream, I'm not allowed to go beyond that line. So I may lose myself, so just look horrified and I'll work out that I'm in the wrong place. It probably won't come as a surprise, having heard those 3 Bible readings, that the theme of the service is envy. In previous weeks, over perhaps a number of months, maybe even years, I've been preaching just on the 7 deadly sins. We've done greed, we've done anger, and today it's envy. Whether we get as far as lust, but after what Stuart was telling us about going on the camp, lust, gluttony, sloth, and pride may follow. But the three readings all point to the dangers of envy. Can we have the definitions on the screen, please? I used to go to the Oxford English Dictionary for definitions, but now Wikipedia comes to mind. And I know it's irritating when somebody reads what you can read for yourself, but just to underline it, envy is pain at the sight of another's good fortune. Envy is pain at the sight of another's good fortune. Envy is an emotion which occurs when a person lacks another's quality, skill, achievement, or possession and either desires it or wishes that the other lacked it. Envy can also refer to the wish for the other person to lack something one already possesses, so as to remove the equality of possession between both parties. Yes, what a brilliant reaction. Its reaction was, ouch. What a horrible thing that is. So horrible. It's not in the church, is it? It's in the Bible reading. It's in that last one that Mabel read to us, the parable of the workers in the vineyard. When starts at 6 a.m. The people have been working. The owner goes to the marketplace, grabs people to work from 6 o'clock in the morning. And then regular intervals, he goes to the marketplace and gets more people till at 5 o'clock, he goes and gets the last lot. And then when the owner is dishing out the wages, well, I don't think he does, but he gets somebody else to do it. He does, I think, what is really provocative. He says, let's start with the last first. Let's start with the last first. So the last come, who've been working since 5 o'clock, and they get a denarius. Then the other lot turn up, and Joe, who's been working since 6 o'clock in the morning, watches all these people get the same amount of money as he's anticipating, and he's cheesed off. This isn't right, he says. I've been flogging my guts out for you, matey, since 6 o'clock in the morning. It's jolly hot out there, and I'm worn out, and you've given these folk the same as me. Now, this is a story about grace, but it's also a story about envy. The landowner says, I want to give the people who came last the same as I promised you. A long time ago, when Penny and I lived in Wolverhampton, we had Leon Murray. Some of you who are old enough will remember Leon Murray. Yeah, name sounds familiar. What was it? He was leader of the TUC, Methodist local preacher, Trade Union Congress, and a Methodist local preacher. And he came to our church and he preached on this Bible passage. And I can remember some of the things he said. So you can ask me about what he said afterwards. But this is a story about envy. Joe felt the pain at the sight of another's good fortune. Joe wants somebody to lack something so that he could possess what he possessed. And we don't know exactly what the context into which James wrote, but clearly envy was something he was worried about, either as a present reality or a possible danger, because he warned against it, and he described it as demonic. That's serious language. And both James and Proverbs know the problems that envy can cause. Personal, it rots the bones, says the writer to the Proverbs. In other words, it affects your very core. And James is concerned about how it affects the relationship within the fellowship of the church. Surely that's past now. Envy isn't an issue in today's church. I confess to you that it is in me. A fortnight ago, my wonderful brother-in-law, who has been to this church, who is closer to me than a brother possibly could be, came to our house to fit radiators to a part of our house that doesn't have heat. Over the years, he's not a plumber, he's not an electrician, but over the years he's built his house and he's developed the skills to do it and he's worked hard at it, and he was putting them in, and it took days for him to work on these radiators. there was times when I had flashes of envy. He can do it. I can't. And I confess that there were times when that anger, that envy, may be a bit grumpy. Because that's what envy can do. There are just occasional flashes when I'm in a meeting at church and you get to the final item on the agenda, that sticky problem, date of the next meeting. For 40 years, people have turned to me and said, David, when are you free to make the date of our next meeting? Nobody bothers anymore whether I can make it or not. That question goes to Ben. And it's right that it goes to Ben. But every now and again, I'm thinking, huh? And actually, I've come across it where people who've been in leadership roles in the life of the church and have stepped back and somebody else has taken on the job. They feel it. They get that flash of envy. And just like I reacted grumpily to my brother-in-law coming and doing the radiators, we can respond in grumpiness. Oh, they're just showing off. Or words to that effect. So as Mabel was calling to me as I asked the question, does it happen in today's church? Yes, it does. That's the bad news. But we start by dealing with it by recognizing its presence within ourselves, if you're struck by flashes of envy, and within our fellowship. That's the bad news. The good news is the Bible gives us spiritual antidotes that if we take will alleviate envy. And I'm going to mention 3 things. And you'll notice that they're not separate. They're almost 3 different ways of looking at the same thing. Last time I preached, I had a Venn diagram which are circles which overlap. These could have used one for this. 3 things: thankfulness, humility, and encouragement. Thankfulness, humility, and encouragement. So thankfulness. And I need to start my thanks by giving thanks to J. John. How many of you have heard of J. John? Yeah, J. John. J. John is a brilliant evangelist. Greek Cypriot, I understand. And my brother-in-law was the man who introduced me to some of his work. And in the Methodist Recorder that I'm sure you all take, probably not, last autumn he wrote an article which was about envy. And if you look at this afterwards, you will see where some of the ideas for this sermon come from. It's called Tall Poppy Syndrome. I'll leave it on the front here. You can read it, Mabel, if the sermon gets boring. So I need to thank him. But one of the antidotes to envy is thankfulness. I asked you earlier in the service to name or to do something creative with the things that you are good at. And an awareness that we have been given particular gifts. What does it say there? Qualities, skills, or you're looking up there. Qualities, skills, achievements, possessions. We have those. You have been given those. And give thanks for that. Give thanks that you have the qualities and skills and gifts that you have. But also to give thanks for the gifts that others have. So I was thinking about my brother-in-law and his radiators, or our radiators, that actually I need to be thankful that this amazing man gave his time and his skills for the sake of hospitality, that was his reward, to do radiators for us. Isn't that amazing that he would do that? And so to be thankful rather than, why haven't I got it? And that's a discipline, actually. It's a serious discipline because I know what I'm tempted to do. And so to remind myself to be grateful. Joel Edwards, heard of Joel Edwards? Some of you will have heard of him. He's a great Christian preacher. I don't know whether he's still alive, but you tell me afterwards, or somebody can Google it. I remember hearing him preach, and he said, Christians are people who should have a gratitude attitude. Now, some of us here have that gift naturally and instinctively. We are thankful people. It's automatic for us. And others of us struggle with that. But this is a discipline of gratitude attitude that you and I have to cultivate. And what better time of year than Lent to cultivate a spiritual discipline? The spiritual discipline of gratitude. And then there is humility. Humility is about being real about who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Romans has it this way. Do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment in accordance with the measure of faith God has given you. I do not want to be in the active Methodist ministry now. So the fact that I am not consulted about the date of the next meeting, or do not know what is going on, I am not in the loop, is okay. Is okay. But God has given me other things and other gifts. God doesn't want me to be Ben. God wants Ben to be Ben and David to be David. And so there's thankfulness. Thank you, God, that you have made me like this. Not like the guy in the parables. I am not like other men. You know, that one. Do you know that story? Was it the Pharisee and the publican or something? Give thanks for who you are, even if there are some things you can't do. There are things that you can do. And then there's encouragement. Encouragement is the fuel that energizes us as individuals and relationships. Just pause for a moment. As you thought of things that you're good at, think of the people who have encouraged you. I'm not going to ask you to share with your neighbour. Who are the people who have encouraged you, and how has that felt? The writer to the Hebrews writes this: encourage one another daily. For the writer to the Hebrews knows that envy corrodes, but encouragement builds up. So, who are you going to encourage? There are some jobs in the life of the church that get done unseen. There are some jobs in the life of the church that cause us to be grumbly sometimes. Who are we going to encourage? in the life of the church, in our families, in our neighbourhoods, at work. Life can be hard. The journey that we tread sometimes is really, really tough. But we are enabled to keep going by encouragement. So this Lent, we're nearly halfway through. If you're looking for some spiritual disciplines to take up the discipline of gratitude, humility, and encouragement. Let's be still.